has always been hard to convince people that I'm doing good work and it's worth the controversy.
Morgan Reese is a 22-year-old college senior in Bowling Green, Ohio. 300 miles away in central Kentucky, 22-year-old Hadley Duvall is a senior at Midway University. At first glance, both Hadley and Morgan are typical college students, but these young women are fighting on opposite sides of one of the country's most deeply polarizing and personal issues, abortion. But their positions might surprise you given where they are.
We can grow on the fundraiser. My favorite thing to say is I'm really just pro minding your business.
Hadley is pro-abortion rights on a conservative Christian campus.
What you need to do with your medical choices is not my business, and it's not the next person's business.
Hey, hey! Oh, oh!
While Morgan is anti-abortion on a mostly liberal one.
This is the greatest human rights atrocity to ever occur, that we are allowing the slaughter of millions of children in the womb.
Hadley and Morgan find themselves in a post-Roe and deeply divided America.
When abortion rights are under attack, what do?
In an election year when abortion is a key issue expected to drive young voters like them to the polls, their generation's votes could be critical in this year's election. Generation Z expected to make up over 40 million potential voters, almost 17% of the American electorate. And voters who say abortion is the most important issue for them are disproportionately made up of the youngest voters.
There is the capacity for young voters to have a real big impact in terms of who wins in these battleground states. We could see some young voters making the decisions that ultimately put someone in the White House.
You wouldn't know it if you met Morgan today, but she says she was pro-abortion rights until a social media post changed that.
I used to be pro-choice, and I just thought that was the normal stance to have. I came across a graphic photo of an aborted baby that just broke my heart.
Since then, the Ohio native has devoted herself to the anti-abortion movement. Volunteering at pregnancy resource centers,
We are out here with the Abortion Is Not Right fall tour.
Serving as president of her university's anti-abortion group, and working with Students for Life, a nonprofit anti-abortion organization. Organizing events on her campus where many students disagree with her views.
Your religion shouldn't tell me what to do, that everyone can make their own decisions.
How has your activism in the anti-abortion movement impacted your life as a college student?
One woman that I don't even know, actually, she sent me a death threat saying that she was going to run me over with her car. So it just reinforces in me the mission that I have.
Her mission in some ways an uphill battle.
Abortion access is the law of the land in Ohio.
We visited Morgan shortly after the majority of voters in Ohio voted to enshrine abortion rights into the state's constitution.
How much of a blow was that to the anti-abortion movement?
So it was a letdown for sure, but much like all of our other losses, it's not the end all be all. I mean, we did impact people through canvassing and tabling.
But Morgan is not alone in this fight. Anti-abortion groups have been laying the groundwork for decades, led by activists like Kristen Hawkins, president of Students for Life.
The bottom line is abortion is a bloody business. It's absolutely abhorrent what we do to these children.
12-year-old girl gets raped. How do you feel about that? Those sort of things?
Yeah,
Right.
I'm against abortion in all cases. Abortion is a discriminatory stance against another member of our species. At the end of my talk, I'm gonna go for we. Oh, the pro-life. You guys need to start chanting it.
Okay.
Nightline has followed Hawkins' quest for an abortion-free America for almost a decade.
We are the pro-life generation, and we will abolish abortion.
Her group, Students for Life, now an army of thousands of young anti-abortion activists with more than 1,400 chapters on college campuses across the country. Many of them showed up for this year's March for Life.
We're at the March for Life rally here in Washington, D.C. It is a very cold and snowy day, but that has not stopped thousands of people from coming here. They say there's a lot of momentum for the anti-abortion movement.
Many young people traveling from all over the nation to remind the country of their political power.
I'm definitely going to vote for people who are pro-life because I do not believe that a life should just be aborted because it's simply unwanted.
Is this country now where you wanted it to be?
No, I mean, our vision of an abortion-free America has not been actualized yet.
Since the Supreme Court voted to overturn Roe v. Wade in 2022, voters have overwhelmingly voted to protect abortion across the country, including in some of the most conservative states in the nation. Nonpartisan polls have also consistently shown that a majority of Americans, 62% of them, say abortion should be legal in all or most cases. That number is even higher for younger Americans. Almost 73% of those ages 18 to 29 say abortion should be legal.
Does it ever give you pause that your movement is pushing for something that the majority of Americans say they don't want?
So when we're having conversations with young people, we're starting there of what sort of restrictions on abortion do they want and why?
While polls show there's broad support for some gestational limit, the reality is that 93% of all abortions occur in the first trimester. ABC News reporting on a post-Roe America repeatedly shows that the new restrictions on abortion have endangered the lives of pregnant women in their second and third trimesters.
No one in the pro-life movement advocates that if a mother's life is at risk and her child has died within her, is no longer living, there's no beating heart, that she must also perish as well. That doesn't make sense.
The law says one thing, but in reality, it looks like something else. So is there something wrong right now with the status?
I would say we have a challenge where we have OBGYNs in this country who are abortion advocates. They're putting their politics over safety and priority.
While there's no evidence of that, there is data showing that most OBGYNs say the overturning of Roe has worsened their ability to manage pregnancy-related emergencies. And a majority of them say they are very or somewhat concerned about their own legal risk when making decisions about patient care and whether or not an abortion is necessary.
It seems that there are challenges in the way the law is being interpreted.
I would say if a woman's life is at risk and her child has died, and that doctor is, doesn't act for fear of losing his medical license, I think we have a problem there.
But it's not just women being impacted by abortion restrictions.
I was a little girl who got a lot taken from her for a long time, so nobody can take my voice.
Hadley Duvall was sexually abused by her stepfather over the course of a decade. At age 12, she realized she'd missed a few periods.
We had just came from my middle school, checked me out of a language arts class. I remember it like it was yesterday. We went and got a pregnancy test from Walgreens, and I took it right there in my bathroom, and it was positive.
She says her stepfather had made plans for her to get an abortion, but then she ended up having a miscarriage.
I knew what I would have chosen. I would have definitely chosen to get an abortion. But at that time, I didn't even know what that meant.
She never imagined sharing this story with the entire country. But that all changed when Roe fell, and she was featured in an ad for Governor Andy Beshear.
To tell a 12-year-old girl she must have the baby of her stepfather who raped her is unthinkable. I'm speaking out because women and girls need to have options.
The ad was largely credited for helping the Democrat win re-election in Kentucky.
Why do you think your story resonated so deeply with the people in Kentucky?
I think that my face gives the all-American girl. You look at my background, I come from a small town, a close-knit community. I have a good family, I come from good people. I'm doing all the things that society says are right.
Since the fall of Roe, Kentucky has put in place a near total ban on abortions, which can currently only be performed to save the life of the mother or prevent disabling injury, with no exceptions for rape or incest. Hadley is on a mission to change that.
It took me a while to find my voice, but now that I have, I intend to keep using it to speak out for other girls and women who need it.
Earlier this year, state Democrats introduced a bill named in her honor, Hadley's Law.
Under this current law, I would have had no choice.
If passed, it would add exceptions for rape, incest, and pregnancies that are no longer viable, and expand the current law to protect the health of the mother, not just her life.
I feel like it helps to give a little bit of hope. It's not where we want to be, but it's just a small glimmer of hope that we can stick together as women.
As a devout Christian, Hadley says her stance on abortion is not at odds with her faith.
I want them to remember that their religion also says that only God judges and that they don't have to be the judge.
Social media has historically been one of the biggest battlegrounds for the youth vote, with organizations like Students for Life and Planned Parenthood vying for young voters' attention. Deja Fox is a social media influencer and abortion rights activist who called upon her followers to organize when Roe fell.
It's the summer of rage, babe. It's time to stop thanking me in the comments and get out there yourself.
But she now finds herself taking the fight to the streets.
How many petitions did we get signed? 11! That means hundreds of individual signatures.
Going door to door in her home state of Arizona to get enough signatures for a ballot initiative that would inscribe abortion rights into the state's constitution.
There is a path forward after the fall of Roe. There is work to be done, and that this fight is coming home. This fight is now up to us.
It's no secret our generation is getting
and documenting that fight online.
Every time abortion has been on the ballot since the overturn of Roe, we've won.
What we do know about young voters, especially Gen Z voters, is that they are particularly engaged when it comes to social justice issues. And so that could be a galvanizing factor to get these folks to the polls.
How much do you think abortion is going to mobilize and motivate young people to vote?
It's the #1 issue on Gen Z's mind.
What do you want young people to think about as they're choosing who to vote for in November?
I want them to look at, who they were as a child and how that's changed to who they are now and all the youth that's coming up next. Anything that's set in this election. It might not be you, but it could be somebody that you love. And you have to put that into consideration whenever you're voting.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.